Ukrainian forces used drones to drop small explosives on Russian forces and surveil their movements. The war, now in its 12th month, has slowed in recent weeks to an attritional battle with few territorial gains for either side. Ukraine said on Friday it was setting up drone assault companies within its armed forces that will be equipped with Starlink satellite communications, as it presses ahead with an idea to build up an army of drones. Commander-in-Chief Valery Zaluzhnyi signed off on the creation of the units in a project that will involve several ministries and agencies, the General Staff said. The most professional servicemen have already been chosen to lead the companies, each of which will receive drones and ammunition, Starlink terminals, and other equipment. We are doing everything to provide soldiers with modern technologies, it said. Starlink is a satellite internet system operated by Elon Musk's SpaceX company, and widely used both by civilians and the military in Ukraine. Ukraine's defense minister told Reuters last month that he regarded drones as the future of modern warfare. Unmanned aircraft have played a crucial role on both sides since Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February last year. And Ukraine on Friday battled Russian troops trying to pierce its lines in the east and northeast, and artillery bombardments intensified after Western allies promised the Kyiv government it would send them tanks to repel the invaders. Kyiv said fierce battles were underway, a day after at least 11 people were killed in missile and drone strikes which were seen in Ukraine as a response to the promises by important allies to send it tanks. After weeks of wrangling, Germany and the United States this week said they would send Ukraine dozens of modern tanks to help push back Russian forces, opening the way for other countries to follow suit. Poland gave Ukraine a further boost on Friday by promising an additional 60 tanks on top of 14 German-made Leopard 2 tanks it had already pledged. A total of 321 heavy tanks have been promised to Ukraine by several countries, Ukraine's ambassador to France, Vadim Omelchenko, said on BFM television on Friday. Ukraine has also asked for US F-16 fighter jets. The White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said the government was aware of Ukraine's request but added, "We don't have any additional weapons systems to speak to today." Both sides in the war are expected to launch spring offensives, though Washington has advised Ukraine to wait until the latest weapons are in place and training has been provided, a process expected to take several months. Moscow accused U.S. President Joe Biden of prolonging the war by arming Kyiv. Ukraine says the only way to end the war is for allies to give it the weapons to win it. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the situation at the front remained extremely acute, particularly in the eastern Donetsk region. In a Friday evening address, Zelensky said Russian forces were not just storming Ukrainian positions but also destroying the towns and villages around them. In Bohoyevlenka village in Donetsk region, soldiers said fighting around the nearby town of Volodar had intensified, with Russian troops constantly trying to advance and capture it. Volodar had come under intense shelling in the past 24 hours, with 7 buildings and 2 schools damaged, Yevhen Nazarenko, spokesman for the Ukraine Army's 68th Brigade, told Reuters. They constantly use artillery fire, aviation. There is no single quiet minute here, he said. Thick black smoke rose over Bohoyevlenka and explosions could be heard in the background. Some homes were damaged. Ola Synhubov, governor of the northeastern region of Kharkiv, said fierce fighting was continuing along the front lines there but Ukrainian forces were holding out. Millions of Ukrainians faced electricity shortages after Thursday's missile and drone strikes, the latest to target energy facilities and deprive people of heat, light and water. Russian air attacks hit 5 high-voltage substations in the central, southern and southwest regions on Thursday, Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal said. Ukraine will need an additional $17 billion in financing this year for energy repairs, demining and to rebuild infrastructure, he added. Russia has been targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure with intense airstrikes far from the front about weekly since October. Kyiv says the attacks serve no military purpose and aim to harm civilians, a war crime. Moscow says the strikes are intended to reduce Ukraine's ability to fight. The latest strikes focused on facilities that operate Ukraine's defense industrial complex and transport system, it said. The goals of the massive attack have been reached. All the assigned targets have been neutralized. After Ukraine recaptured land in the second half of 2022, front lines have been largely frozen for more than 2 months, with Russia trying to gain ground in the east and protect a corridor of land it has seized in southern Ukraine. Oleksandr Muzienko, head of the Military and Strategic Research Center of Ukraine, said Russia was sending in reinforcements, mainly conscripts, to block Ukrainian advances. But they do not have the level of artillery and tank support they had on February 24, Muzienko told Ukrainian television, referring to the date of Moscow's invasion in 2022. Kyiv accuses Moscow of deporting children as well as adults from occupied areas and giving them Russian passports. Filippo Grandi, the UN's refugee agency chief, said this violated the fundamental principles of child protection in situations of war and that Russia must stop it.